Here we go. So now I gotta go to view full screen. Here we go. Okay. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay. Anyway, I want to welcome everybody today. The hat, I have to tell you, we were at the Kentucky Derby 2 weeks ago, so this is my gorgeous Fascinator hat that I had to buy. And doesn't it go with my t-shirt? I think it's perfect.
Perfect.
So we are going to have a great program today. What happened to us? We disappeared. Resume share. Okay. We're going to be talking about our fabulous peer-to-peer support program, and we have 5 women who have been involved in the program, either as somebody who helped us put it together, or as a mentor, or as a mentee. So we have Deborah Brewer, Leanne Cochran, Susan Lehman, Carol Reese, and Lisa Rosacki. And I will introduce all of them in a minute, but first I am going to tell you that we started this program because we saw a need. I don't know why it's doing this view. It's giving me the wrong view. But anyway, somewhere around the summer, we started finding, people started finding me literally the day that they were diagnosed, saying, help, because they had nowhere to go. There were no support groups to go to. There were no classes to go to. And one of the biggest things we found at the World Parkinson's Congress in Kyoto, talking to other bloggers, was that this was a topic that was coming up all over the place. We were all meeting with people who were newly diagnosed. We were getting phone calls. Can you talk to this person? This, my friend, my coworker, whomever. And this has been something that has been brewing in the chronic illness communities across the board, is peer-to-peer mentoring, because we fill a need that the doctor can't fill. So we started putting this together in July. I asked for volunteers to help me, and several of those volunteers will be speaking today, but I'm going to have Susan Lehman talk about developing the program. And let me get you, Susan, I'm going to pull up real quick. What did I just do with your bio? And so Susan was diagnosed 4 years ago. She had a lifetime in film and theater, working as a professional actor, writer, director, professor, and chief mop-up person. And that's pretty much where she is with us, is our chief mop-up person. Her last performance 4 years ago was accompanied by her first severe tremor. So she's found a new stage, being an advocate for Parkinson's. And she's produced fundraisers, lobbied DC with the Fox Foundation, and been involved in consulting, in starting mentorship programs, and especially with our group. So Susan, I'm going to let you talk real quick for a few minutes about how we developed the whole thing. So you are on.
Okay. Hi, Erin, ladies, everybody. Yes, sometimes a lot of great minds come together at the same time. And I was in the middle of doing, well, when I was diagnosed, like many of you, I was given no information. In fact, I was accidentally given an empty folder. So they said, here's your information packet. And it was absolutely empty. And I got home, and that's when I cried. When you open a notebook that's absolutely empty, that's when I cried. So
Wait a second. I gotta unmute. Susan, you're gonna have to unmute yourself. I gotta mute everybody. Okay, go ahead. All right, you're on.
Okay, back to where I was. Okay. So I started talking to Penn about a mentor program because I'm very involved with the University of Pennsylvania in research and advocacy. And it took me a long time to get them to come around. And while I was coming around, I had a Parkinson's partner, Parkinson's chosen, as we call ourselves, or as I call us, who was a retired social worker professor. And she put together all this information for us. That's Jenny Campbell, Dr. Jenny Campbell. And she put together all this information on peer groups and everything, and she gave it to me to look at. And I wish she had mentioned she thought I'd just skim it, because I read this massive information, wall to wall, double sided, by the way. And it comes down to one thing. It comes down to a lot of common sense. But anyway, about this time, as I'm pushing pen, somebody, it's Jenny, as a matter of fact, introduced me to Sharon, and you guys, Twitchy Women, was starting the same search as I was trying to put together with pen, and Sharon and the gang uh, were generous enough to invite me into the middle of the muddle and take my research and the stuff I had done, talking to the women with breast cancer groups, talking to Man, which is the men's group for prostate cancer, a few other groups, and also um, we just got together, and then we even went to a workshop for Shasharet. Is that how you say it? Shashar,
Shasharit.
Shashar,
Shasharit.
which they ran a workshop for their mentors and how to mentor. And as I said, it came down to one thing. It came down to never, never, never give medical advice and use a lot of common sense. And that's how we started creating Twitchy Women's Mentor Program. Um, I want to make sure I don't forget something from my notes. And as I said, as we all know in our hearts, never, never give medical advice, and use of common sense. And our mentees are focused on every conversation that a mentor is focused on every conversation. We put together a little training packet, but we don't, everything. It's very simple. When you are a mentor, you are the person's ears. You get to listen. When you are a mentor, no matter what stage of diagnosis someone is coming to you in a time of transition or crisis, and you are there to them. We call it peer-to-peer mentoring, but I have to say I'm not sure that's quite accurate. It's a little more like a sponsor in AA who has the condition, who understands the condition, maybe a little steps ahead of dealing with their condition, but it's not a true peer relationship. It is more like a big sister, little sister relationship. And it may grow in time to be a true friendship, but even with that, when it starts sort of one sided, it may say sort of one sided. Some of the women that Sharon talks about that are newly diagnosed may only want one long conversation and then need to deal with certain things and not get back to you ever, or get back to you for in a year. I had a mentee recently who I stopped reaching out to because she stopped responding. And then, like 6 weeks later, she emailed me. And you're there for them. You're the shoulders that they need to hang on. Um, so that's something that mentors have to understand. And then when Christy and I interview them, we're looking for someone who has that kind of openness to their ears and to their heart. That they don't need to be the star, that they need to be good sounding board for people. Um, I consider it, I wrote this morning. We're here to empower the mentee to navigate the roads of this new journey, because that's what a mentor does. It helps empower the person who is in this crisis or transition to navigate this road that we're all on together. One of the things that you have to listen for as a mentor is, since every Parkinson's person has different symptoms, different progression, you have to be not refer to yourself in the same way as you might with another disease. You have to listen to theirs, and truly the best mentors have an understanding of Parkinson's, an academic knowledge of Parkinson's. They're not there to ask questions, they've done the research. Um, like AA, I think that we have steps too. I think every person with Parkinson's, every day of their life, tries to accept awareness, acceptance, adjustment, and then the action of the day. And that's what I try and get my mentees to do. Whatever stage they're at. I have somebody newly diagnosed right now. It's funny, I'm a little off script, but I notice with my mentees, and I've talked to people in our little gang, that the 2 year moment seems to be a very, very crucial time where someone needs more than just to talk. They need somebody who they can take a breath with, and have a shoulder and talk through ways that their friends, their closest friends, will never really understand. And we form instant bonding by what we're all going through. Letting mentees know they're not alone. A mentor is not alone either, because Christy, my partner in interviewing, and all the women on the committee, we're here for the mentors too, to check in with, to have questions for what they need. Like I said, the handbook is very useful for resources, for how to have conversations, for tackling problems. And the best ingredient is an open heart, an open mind, an open ear, and sometimes giving somebody a little kick in the butt so they get moving. That's what we do. And it's always taking on the cue of the mentee. I think if you have any questions, that's sort of all I wrote down for this morning. But the one thing I will say about being a mentor, so I was on stage since I'm 4, I'm not kidding, almost born in a trunk, except my mother probably thought trunk was too dirty. And all my life, and until 4 years ago, I had retired from being a professor, and I was going back on stage, and this big tremor hit me. And you don't get nervous on one side, something's wrong, because when you get nervous, one hand does not shake. And that will be my last performance ever. And what being active and being involved with all the wonderful women I've met, and some men on a different program, has given me a new stage of purpose, has given me a new stage to use my skills as a director, as a writer sometimes, as a part of a bigger community than myself. And so that's the side I get out of being a mentor. Not my problems, but being part of a bigger purpose is given my life that's been so busy from age 4 to age, actually I'll be 70 in 2 weeks. So till 66, my whole, sharing this theater and film experience and writing and working with students all my life, that's gone. So now I have this community to work with and to grow with and to have purpose in my life. That's it. I'm signing out.
Okay, thank you, Susan. I'm going to call on Carol Reese now. Carol is one of our mentors who's been on our committee since the beginning last summer. And Carol has been assigning mentors to mentees. So they take the list of mentors who have been vetted by Susan and Christy, and Carol and Candace Mueller, who is her partner, go through the people wanting a mentor and make the assignments. So Carol, I'm going to ask you this, okay?
Okay. Hi, everybody. So the matches. Some of you on today have applied. We get a form. Thank you, Naomi. I don't know if she's on today, who created a form that then transfers to a spreadsheet. And if I think I'm good at technology, Naomi really beats me. So yes, somebody applies, and I guess we tried in the very beginning to make sure we were all in the same time zone. You're going to notice today that I think the speakers are from 4 different time zones. But sometimes that doesn't work. So sometimes the age at diagnosis, it's a little bit different for somebody who's still working and has young children. It's a little different for somebody who's had DBS. It's a little different for somebody who just wants somebody to talk to, as Susan said, in the immediate, and then, sticking around. So I do try to just look at all that. Usually the applications are a little briefer, which we understand. People are writing on the internet. But Christy and Susan have given me a lot of information. And so we do a match. And right after, we always ask the mentor first, because, the mentors are listed, but sometimes their life got busy. So we asked, do you have time to now take on a mentee? And Candace reaches out and confirms that somebody's going to get in touch with them. And I think that's good too, because the person who's being mentored, sometimes it might not be a good match. Candace and I emailed earlier this week, that really hasn't happened, but it could. So we want to have the person who has received information about their mentor have the option to get in touch with Candace and say, this isn't working for me. I was thrilled to join this group. Sharon knows that I tried, there's nothing, your friends are great, but there's nothing like having somebody who is in this chronic illness. I know at least one, I saw one other of my mentees are on. But I think Deborah will tell you first. One thing I wanted to say, that I think that my ultimate aim is life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And I think that if a mentee learns to dance in the rain, then I've accomplished my goal and my friendship, etc. But we want to get Deborah to say why she joined and where it led her.
Okay, let me,
Hi.
okay. There's Deborah, and I thought I had both of you up there, but I guess well, go ahead. Deborah?
I would like to say thank you. It's so good to be with all you ladies today, and I really appreciate everything that each one of you have contributed to Twitchy Women. And I'm especially grateful to Carol. She has meant so much to me in my life. She has given me tools in my toolbox to go forward and work, as she said, with this chronic illness. And it is something that I don't think your regular friends, although they are so special and precious, no one, unless they've kind of walked in your shoes, can know the journey. But I just would like to say that it's been such a blessing to me. Carol is such a dear person. She has even quoted that script to me about dancing in the rain. And I think of it so often. And, I really don't have much to offer except a huge thank you to Carol, to Sharon, to all of you women. I really thank you from the bottom of my heart.
And Deborah and I had, it just turned out we had things in common. We're married about the same time. We married our childhood sweetheart, and we happened to get Parkinson's. Other things are very different. Deborah, by the way, has introduced programs to me. She's very quick to tell me about, what is it, the power of the voice? What program did you tell me about that I've turned into?
Parkinson's Voice Project?
Yes, that's correct, yeah. So all the mentors learn from the mentees as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's been lovely. It has really been lovely.
Thank you.
Well, great. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay. All right, I'm going to unpin the two of you, and we are going to go on to our next two speakers. Oops. This is hard to do when the camera backs up, Here we go. Okay, so our next speaker is Lisa Rosacki. And Lisa, I need you to unmute yourself. And I will bring you up. Are you there?
Me?
Yeah, okay. Let's pin you. Where are you? Okay, Lisa, I need you to go ahead and speak so you come up on my.
If I pin video, is that me doing my? There, you got it.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay. All right. So now I will pin you. Okay. If it lets me, it's not letting me do anything. Okay. Well, go ahead. You're the only one on right now, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let me tell you quickly about Lisa and her mentee. Lisa is from Rockport, Texas, and may have to get. She's in the middle of a tornado warning,
It's
so
over.
runs.
This warning is over.
It's over. Okay, good. She's been married to her husband Larry for 40 years. They have 2 married daughters and 5 grandchildren. She's a teacher. She's been teaching 29 years, 4th grade reading, writing, and social studies, and it is her passion. And she has no plans to retire anytime soon. She was diagnosed last September, and she was one of those people who got in touch with me the day she was diagnosed. And I'll let her talk about that. I'm not going to go through all of that, but she started looking online on the way home from the doctor's appointment and found Twitchy Women and found out about our Sunday morning program and joined us immediately. So that's Susan and Lisa. And Lisa became a mentor after one session with her mentor. She just felt that that 1 hour session was enough to give her the confidence to go forward, and which is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Others of us were in denial for 5 years or more. So, and her mentee is Leanne Cochran, who's 54 years old and was born and raised in Southern California. But she moved to Colorado with her husband, Jesse, and they've been there for 24 years. They have 2 sons who are 18 and 20. And she was diagnosed February 20th, 2020, memorable day in many ways. And she found us, and she's been working with Lisa for a couple months now, I guess. So I'm going to let Lisa talk about her journey real briefly. I will also pin Leanne's. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
I started, mine was kind of like a rabbit trail. I continued to get iritis in my eye, in my left eye, which is autoimmune. And I had a lot of pain in my left arm and left shoulder. So my ophthalmologist thought that I had, it was called ankylosing spondylitis. So I went to Houston and I went to a rheumatologist, and she really couldn't, did all these tests and MRIs, and she couldn't really find anything. And as I was talking to her, I'm like, I've got this little bitty tremor in my left hand. And she's like, oh, that's just essential tremor, and that's nothing, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. But then I decided on one of my visits that I wanted to go to a neurologist. And so she sent me to one, and he didn't think it was anything either, but he said, let's do a brain scan and a DAT scan. And so I went, and actually I found the diagnosis. They sent, like, they put your report online, and I saw it said Parkinson's before anybody even told me, which was horrible. But when I talked to him, he still thought it was essential tremor. So I was like, okay, it's just essential tremor. And so I went to the movement disorder. He sent me there to, confirm it. And it definitely was Parkinson's. That weekend we had planned to stay in Houston. I had the hotel reservation, and we were gonna have a nice weekend because I did not expect that diagnosis. So we got in the car, we drove 3 hours, we came home. And on the way home, I just started searching blogs, and I came upon Sharon. So that was a Friday. And then I called you, we talked to each other on Sunday. And Sharon was so inspiring, so encouraging, so uplifting that it made it so much better. And so I haven't told anybody, just my family, immediate family knows. My friends don't know, because when I did tell my ophthalmologist, she was like, I feel so sorry for you. I'm so sorry. And I don't need to hear that. So I still have my tremor in my arm, but I haven't told anybody. My mother doesn't even know. Because I don't want them looking at my hand to see if I'm shaking, or I don't want them to feel sorry for me. So I just go on, I teach school. So after about 2 weeks of feeling sorry for myself, I just woke up one day and thought, I'm just gonna accept it. I'm gonna embrace it. I'm gonna live one day at a time. And if the Lord allowed me to have this, I'm just gonna let him shine through me and use my Parkinson's to help other people. And so I just really try to go day by day and pray that the Lord stops my progression each day and help others. And so then I got hooked up with Leanne because she needed somebody that, since I still work, and somebody who just gets it. And Carol or whoever hooked us up, we were like 2 peas in a pod. We just have so much in common. And I can tell you, by being a mentor, I know I helped them, but they helped me. And I can talk to Leanne and Peggy, my other mentee, and I feel like I can just, they get it. I mean, on my end too, we can just talk and discuss, and we have something in common, which other people don't have with me, or they don't know.
Sorry.
So, so I'm still working.
Oh, sorry.
That's cool. What else, Sharon?
That's okay. So, I'm sorry, my husband's phone rang very loud. Okay, so I now have Leanne on, and Leanne, do you want to say a few words about how this is working for you?
It's working great. I was diagnosed, and probably for the first year did not even want to think about it. My husband says, don't read books about it, don't get on Google, just try to get healthy and stay healthy. And in looking at different Facebook pages, everything was scary. It was very down. It was very drug related. I've done this and oh, poor me. And then I came across your site and I saw mentorship. So I signed up for it to have a mentor. And so I guess it was like a week later, Lisa texted me and said I was chosen, to be your mentor. Can I call you? And it was just 100% from our first talk. We both didn't tell anybody. I think just my hairdresser knows. We both went through a surprise diagnosis, and we just click on every level. It's more like talking to a best girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I can still ask her questions. Something that I kind of discovered recently was she is very strong in her faith, and I will be honest, with some health issues that I have had and my husband have had, I've been questioning my faith, and she supports me in that and explains things to me, which has been very important. Find out that we're both Catholic, and that was funny. Just that we have so much in common. She sent me these beautiful buttercream cookies. I'm like, how does she know that I love sweets? A piñata for Cinco de Mayo came in the mail, and just beautiful surprises like that has just been wonderful. And I knew that probably by the second time we spoke that I knew that I was going to meet her in person one day. I just knew it. She was going to have some wine. I was going to have some beer. We were just going to just have fun. And so she mentors me, but she's also become a close friend. I just feel I am excited for the next years to come to see how our friendship unravels and how we know each other. And it's just been fantastic. I even had to ask her, where did you find me again? Because I was in that fog of the different Facebook pages and finding information.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, she's like, from Twitchy Women. I'm like, oh, okay.
Funny.
I do startle real easy with Parkinson's. I don't know if y'all do. I don't know if that's part of it or
I do too.
Huh?
I do too. My husband's
I do
like, I didn't
too.
do anything. And I'm like, ah.
I do too.
Yeah, I do startle real easy. Yeah. So
It's so weird.
I just feel so like this is, even though I have Parkinson's, this is all something good that's come out of it. I wouldn't have met you ladies, and I just feel so blessed from that. So thank you, Sharon, for everything.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for being part of our group, because it's been wonderful for everybody all around. I don't think that anyone newly diagnosed needs to speak to someone who understands where they're at. We've all been there. And when you talk to somebody who doesn't have Parkinson's, they don't, it's a different language we speak. We understand what we're going through. We get it. And so we can answer your questions, about how do you feel. When I was diagnosed 12 years ago, there was nobody to talk to. I didn't know anybody. And there were no mentors available. There was very little on the internet at the time as well. And one of the reasons I started my blog was because there just wasn't much out there. And at that point, I was getting requests to talk to people because I'd been living with it, and I could explain, I could understand what they were going through. We all go through grief and acceptance, all the different stages of grief when we're diagnosed. So what's better than having somebody who can help you along that road to recover? Mm-hmm. So
y'all, I don't really know anybody that has Parkinson's. I'm like, so there was nobody for me to talk to.
Yeah. There was a friend of mine from my synagogue, who was diagnosed a couple months after me, and we found out that we were both diagnosed. We became a support group of 2.
Yeah.
But we didn't know anybody else.
No.
That was it for 4 or 5 years, until I finally decided to get myself up and go to a Fox Foundation event in LA. It was the first thing I'd ever gone to. And that was 5 years after my diagnosis. And and it was just Sandy and me in our own little private group talking, because we didn't know anybody else to talk to about it. So I have to say that meeting all of you over the last year and a half has been amazing for me. We're all here for each other. And yes, some of my best friends are my Parkinson's friends.
Mm-hmm.
because we all get it. So questions, put them in the chat, please, and we will start. You can direct them to any of our speakers. I will pin our speakers up. Let's see if I can get everybody on. Let's see, Susan, we're going to add you. And pin, and we have Deborah. And I think that's everybody. Okay. And Susan has awareness, acceptance, adjustment, and action. Anything below that?
I do see that there are other people here who either mentor or are mentees, because I recognize the names, so
Yeah,
feel free, it's open time.
yeah. Please go ahead and ask questions. Eileen Menton, yes, you may say something about your experience with Carol. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you. I was diagnosed in September of 1999, or 2019, sorry, just less than 2 years ago. And I'm one of those people who processes slowly. So it took me a while and a lot of time spent on the internet looking around. And then in June of last year, I found Twitchy Women, and I feel like a member of the tribe now. I've been coming and just found it so inspiring. So when the mentor program opened up, it was like, this is what I need, because I had lots of information, but I didn't always know how to put it into my life, figuring out what I needed to worry about, what was stuff not that I could take care of later. What were the questions I needed to ask my doctor? And Carol has just been wonderful. I didn't realize it, but I was her first. And I found the relationship just great, because we speak for a half hour or so once or twice a month, and we really have a chance to, I've had a chance to say, well, I'm getting ready to go to the doctor. Is this something I should raise? How can I focus on what's really important with him? And those kinds of questions have it's been really helpful to me. So I want to thank her, and thank you, Sharon, for putting this program together.
Oh, you're welcome. I have to say that the 10 women who were on the committee who put this program together were absolutely wonderful to work with. And I know several others are on this call. But I can't even, I see Christy, I know Victoria's on, and I'm not quite sure who else is on. But you guys, you ran with it and you did it. And I feel like, I've turned this, you've taken my baby and grown up, turned it into something that is wonderful. And I don't have to do anything.
Well,
That's what a good producer does. They learn how to delegate.
Susan puts everything in perspective for me. She's my my conscience over here saying,
I mop up.
let go, let go, let go.
I mop up. No, but that's what a good and that's how we can grow, is because we get a lot of people in and that form bonds and that can take someone's idea and make it flourish. Nobody can do everything because it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And a good executive producer knows how to delegate and nurture.
And have a good team.
Yeah,
Can I ask
we had an amazing team. So there's questions about the where do you find the forms? The forms are on our website. When you go to the peer-to-peer mentoring site, there were forms for mentees and forms for mentors. And please, please, please fill out the forms with information. We get a lot of mentees who fill out the form. They will give us their first name only. Sometimes we don't even get a name. We don't know what, they don't fill out any information, don't give us any extra information, so we don't know anything about them. It's hard to make a match if we don't know who you are, where you live, what you do. Whatever information you can give us makes it much easier to make the match.
And
Erin, oh, sorry.
well, I think the mentees, you're very stressed, you're in crisis or transition, as I said, when you fill out the form. So please understand that the information is power for us, but also for the mentors, we'll get forms that'll just have their first name or a city. They expect us to know where it is and we don't, and the information is there so we can get to know you better, so we can invite you into this marvelous program with greater ease. So that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Well, Sharon, I think that your experience 12 years ago was very much like my experience. I didn't even know what Parkinson's meant, had never heard of it, didn't know anybody who had it. And so I went to the internet and discovered that my dance teacher at a dance group in San Francisco had Parkinson's, and she's very active now. And it was to be embraced, to find other people that had this. We went to PD Active. We started the Mark Morris dance group in San Francisco. There were 4 of us, and we did a lot of research what Parkinson's was, and just to be embraced, to feel that we were okay, that we weren't the only people in San Francisco that had this disease. It was just empowering to have these 3 other women that we're still meeting today.
Who was speaking, because you didn't come up? with-
Yeah.
It's Sally.
Oh, Sally, okay. Yeah, I couldn't see, it didn't highlight you. Okay, Kim, you had your hand up?
Yep.
Yeah, I have, oh, sorry, am I unmuted? Yeah. Sharon, I have a question for either you or Carol or Suzanne. Okay, I have 2 mentees that I'm working with. One of them is extremely receptive, and we've built a great rapport, and we're learning from each other, and I think that's really good. My other one is non-receptive. Occasionally, it's like if I send her a little something very, very light, she'll respond, but not with anything. And I think she was one of those people when she filled out her application, she was extremely brief, almost like she was afraid to share. And I'm wondering, do I stop? How long? I think I've been doing this like off and on with her for maybe over 2 months, I know of. So when do I walk away from that and just not reach out?
Good question. Can anybody answer that?
I have an answer to that. I would say, Kim, that what you need to do is you should send her an email or however you've been contacting her and say, then this will be the last time I contact you, unless you are, if you have a question or anything, please feel free to call me back, but otherwise I won't bother you. Because I've done that.
Okay.
With mine too. I mean,
I did that at one point. She's like, oh no, it's no bother. But you know what? A relationship is not a relationship if it's only one-sided.
yeah.
So
Occasionally it just doesn't work, you know?
right. No, I know. And I didn't take it personal. I just don't want to give up on her, and you know.
Mhm.
Well,
I think Susan said it before. I think sometimes people, when they get diagnosed, just want 1 or 2 times to see somebody and how they're doing and whatever.
Right.
And some people, go on. I agree with Victoria. Just say, checking in,
Yep.
let me know. But you can let it fizzle. with
And
permission.
yeah,
Okay.
I agree with both of them. Sharon mentioned a time when she met with somebody who had just been diagnosed. She spent a long coffee with them, and then they didn't call back for a year. Sort of like my mentee who I'd sort of done the same thing, reached out after a couple
Right.
weeks. Hope you're and I didn't end anything. I just said, hope you're doing well, and then 2 or 3 weeks later I said, it's a beautiful day out. I hope you've got spring going. And then I stopped. And then it was 6 weeks later, she reached out again.
Okay. And that's where I am right now, Susan. I just
Right.
did that last one that you talked about. And
But I don't say I won't bother you. I mean,
No,
you can.
I
That's your-
didn't either, because when you say that, it would open her up to say, oh no, you're not bothering me.
Right,
But
right.
that doesn't mean she's going to be receptive to a relationship.
Also in the beginning of my mentee relationship, sometimes I ask how they want to, like, what usually happens is we talk a lot in the beginning, and then it sort of goes into they're past that crisis or transition and they don't need to speak to as much. But I also, like, one of my longest term and still wonderful connection, I asked her in the beginning, I said, I don't want to, I would be happy to reach out, but this shouldn't be a burden for you. And
Right.
she said, please reach out because I'm really bad at it.
See, that I have 3 that I did before I joined your group, but they're all pretty much more local.
Right.
And so that's where I am with them. It's understandable. We have that kind of a communication. But because geographically this lady wasn't somebody I could show up on her doorstep with flowers, you know, it was a
Right.
little bit different kind of a situation.
Right.
So I just wanted you guys to give me some input. I will run with it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Victoria, you're next.
Yes, I just want to say that I think probably one of the most important things that we can tell our mentees is that this is a nuisance disease, you know. It's not going to kill you. You might die from complications of, but Parkinson's in itself doesn't kill people. And I think there's quite a misunderstanding about that, because it's a nuisance. That's how I like to think of it. I've lived with it now for 18 years. I was diagnosed in 2003 in January. Long time.
But you know, and which is amazing the way you've navigated the disease, but we know it's very individual for everybody.
It is, yeah.
So that's once again how you have to listen and let them guide how you speak. You know, Parkinson's may not kill you, but the quality of life along the way to death is very, very important, and that's very individual.
That's right. That's true.
One of the things I try to do with my mentees is to find something to laugh about. So you know, Carol and Cynthia aren't responsible for matching up. Oh, you were born in a trunk too, and you were, you know, that specific. But your job is to find where you do connect in some ways, and respect where they are, and joke about things. I mean, you know, and let's face it, we all have these stories. I remember a long lost cousin of mine. I mean, I hadn't seen her since I was 7. It doesn't matter the details. And she called me, and yes, she's from the Bronx. So, oh no, she's from Brooklyn. So she said, "Oh, Susan, I just heard you have this. I want you to know that our Aunt Lil had it and was miserable for the last 20 years of her life."
Oh, thanks.
And I had to cover the phone so I didn't laugh in her face. I have to say, I've not spoken to her since I was age 7. I met her. She was probably about 15. And I have not spoken to since this conversation. But you just have to laugh at what some of the people say. But
I think you just have to find something to laugh about with yourself too. And
yeah.
And it's just, you can just do things that are so funny. I'm often called the marathon dancer because I don't stand still very often, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I laugh about that. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but listen, because I have mentees whose symptom is shorter than me and their symptoms are a little further along than mine. And I have mentees that, you know, we're all just so different, which is one of the mysteries of the disease. We're mysterious women. We're women of mystery. But finding, you know, awareness, acceptance, adjustment, action, you know, finding where their sweet spot of most productive life is what a mentor tries to help a mentee do. You know, and it's so it can't be about me because my sweet spot may be very different than someone else's.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Victoria is one of our super mentors. She's just amazing. She never says no. Trish, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, I've had Parkinson's now for 20 years. I was diagnosed in 2003 at the age of 35. And so I have experience with young onset Parkinson's, and my father had Parkinson's, so it's an inherited factor. So I've been with it my whole life. But I just want to let people know that I'm out here because I believe that as a mentor, I need to be there for the person all the time, and that I have experience with DBS and other stuff, but I'm here to listen. And as my card says, I say I'm just a helping hand along the way. And so I just want to put myself out there and say that when I was first diagnosed, there's nobody. I went to one support group, it was all white-haired people. I felt I was a grandchild to all those people, and that's how they treated me. And so I ran a long group a young onset group for about 8 years already, and no one wanted to step up to the plate and help me beat it. So I said I had to close it because I needed help. And then I worked for the American Parkinson's Disease Association for about 5 years in San Diego Valley. And then I had some other issues of my health, and so I'm just making it back into the scene again. And I just wanted to be a support to anybody that needs it.
Yeah, I I want to say, Trish was diagnosed about 6 years before me, I guess. And yeah, when I was diagnosed, there was still nothing out there in 2009. There was so little to read on the internet. There were a handful of websites, and we've had a proliferation of foundations since then, providing, Davis Finney, Brian Grant, PMD Alliance. None of those were around when we were diagnosed. And there was nobody to talk to. And I met Trish because one of her women gave her my name to come speak to her support group. It was a long time, about 5-6 years ago at least.
Yep. And I try to encourage all my people to get out and socialize. Don't isolate, socialize. So I get them to go to dance class. I get people to go to creative stuff like acting. They have acting.
We did all kinds of things. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how to raise my hand in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to, we're talking about mentors and you have to know yourself. It's okay if you feel that you shouldn't be a mentor. You should not step up to be a mentor until that is something inside you. There are so many ways to help. Being part of a support group is as important as being the leader of a support group.
Right.
Being encouraging to your friends in a dance class or whatever kind of class, or just volunteering for research, volunteering to help at a fundraiser. We're talking about mentors like no one should feel bad because they do not feel that they should be a mentor. The important thing is to know your strength and where you can be involved when you're ready to be involved. And that's where you need to find it. And if you feel you can be a mentor, fabulous. But if you feel it's not for you or you need a mentor, there's so many ways to be involved and to find joy in our new community.
And Trish did that as a support group leader for the last 8 years. She's been amazing. But we're going to move on because we've got a couple more hands up. Angela.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to say hello. I joined your group for the last meeting I came. I live in Vienna in Austria, so I'm rather far away from all of you, but it's nice to be able to see you. And I have the same thing. Some of you mentioned that you don't know anybody with Parkinson. The same thing has happened to me, really. I was diagnosed 3 years ago. Like Lisa, I've told my family and I've told my closest friends, but somehow I haven't, I've felt a certain embarrassment, or I don't know how to put it really, but I don't really want to go out and talk about it with people. Gradually that's changing, I have to say, but I'm not in a big hurry to do it. And of course, this pandemic has made it much more difficult because one's not out and about anyway. So it's, you're at home, you can't really do that much. I'm actually wondering how it's going to be because here in Vienna, everything is opening up again on this Wednesday. And this will be the first time really, you can go out to a cafe or a restaurant or whatever. And in the meantime, at the moment anyway, I'm really quite slow walking, but everybody's going to see that something's happened to me in the meantime. And, I'm wondering how to approach that and how that's going to be. So, but anyway, it's very nice to come to a group of like-minded and similar people and to, feel that you're one of them and you have some support here.
Angela, we actually have a couple of mentors in Europe. If you would like to be connected with someone who can answer some of your questions.
That would be interesting. I suppose they're not in Vienna, are they?
They're not in Vienna. I think Italy and I think England. I think we have somebody in England and somebody in Italy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe. Well, I would be happy to be with anybody. As we can talk like as well.
You know what? Fill out the form that's on the peer on the website.
Yeah.
And I'll look for you. I wrote your name down already.
Okay. Fine. Thanks.
Yeah. We're not limited to the U.S. and Canada. And with Zoom and Apple Chat, whatever, we can talk to anybody anywhere in the world, which is amazing. And that's the best part about this whole program is that we have women from everywhere who join us, and we can reach out to you, or you can reach out to us. And we started because we were all isolated. There was nowhere to go to. And Zoom is the only alternative. Now that things are opening up, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this group. And if we will continue to attract as big a group as we do from week to, from time meeting to meeting, because people are going to be getting out and doing things, and they may not need us as much once they start going back to their PD boxing and dance classes and everything else, where you do have the opportunity to speak to other people who are going through what you're going through. We're filling a void here. Okay, next speaker is Terry. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Good morning. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Just with you talking about things opening up again, I'm in Chino, so I'm about 45 miles from where you are or so. But I was just thinking that if you did have Zoom meetings, maybe we can do like a hybrid where some of us meet up together to Zoom in on one, computer, so that at least we'd have local people we'd be face to face with, but still on the Zoom meeting.
That's certainly something that we can, that can be arranged in any city, any group of women. You can get, if you know other people in your community, you can get together on one, in one group, and join us on Zoom.
Yeah,
fun.
I would like that.
Yeah. Any other questions about mentoring? Okay. Yeah, just.
Susan, I haven't gotten a mentee yet. How does that happen?
First of all, that's Carol, that you should talk to Carol, and Cynthia handle that. We have, but I can speak somewhat for them because we have ebbs and flows. Like after Sharon and I did a presentation a couple of months ago for the Parkinson's Alliance, we got a flood of people. And that's really what it's about. Also, I don't know your time zone. We do try to select. It's not complete because I do have somebody on the West Coast, but we try and stay within time zones. So nobody has to worry about a 10 o'clock call at night from somebody who just gets home from work at 7 in the West Coast. So that's really what it is. It's more supply and demand.
Sally, but Sally, I know your name. I seem to have a good memory of your name. I don't remember receiving an application. So could you do it again on the peer-to-peer?
Sure.
But you applied to be a mentor, right, Sally?
Right. I did. I've been a mentor before, and
I see.
I have a lot of experience in how it works and how to make it something really good for the mentee.
Okay, I don't remember getting your application, and Christy, because we get them, and Christy did say that she didn't get it either. So we may have not gotten the application. Technology is a bitch. So.
Okay, I've just been getting information from the organization now, and I thought that I was going to be part of it today and would find out how to move forward. So I'll apply again.
And I've written down that you'd like to be a mentor after they interview. Great.
Thanks.
Great. All right, we are going to wrap up now.
Oh, Jane's in Italy.
Yeah, we have Jane in Italy, who we can introduce Angela to.
Where's
I'm going to go back to screen sharing. So let's see, where are we? Come on. Okay, so I want to thank our speakers. We have a virtual tiara to everyone. For everyone, Carol, Deborah, Leanne, Susan, and Lisa. And next meetings, and I'm sorry we're not meeting every other week, but my life, things have gotten in the way, especially now that we're opening up and we are traveling. That's the hat for the Kentucky Derby we went to 2 weeks ago. June 13th, we're going to be doing some artwork. It's going to be a lot of fun with neurographic art with Lorraine Wilson. You don't have to have any expertise in art to participate. And then on June 27th, we will have our second installment on hormones and Parkinson's. And we will have Rochelle Flanagan, who is the co-founder of the Women's Parkinson's Project, Caitlin Nagy, a woman with young onset Parkinson's, who has a video. And if you go to the website, there's a link to the video. She was interviewed by Edmonton. She lives in Edmonton, and the television station there interviewed her, and she talked at length about her experience with her changing hormones and periods and how she felt. And we will also have Roberta Marangio, who's assistant professor of neuroscience, talk about the effects of hormone on hormones on women with Parkinson's disease. She's doing research in that area. And next slide. Oops, come on. That we have workshops for combating microphagia. This is the handwriting workshops. If you're interested, they are taking applications. You need to email. We are giving out some scholarships. This is thank you to those of you who bought T-shirts and sweatshirts. That some of those funds will be used to give scholarships to people who need it. We're giving half scholarships to 10 people. So I thank you for supporting us, and please go ahead and sign up, because the July and August starting dates are exclusively for our women. So you'll be with a group of Twitchy women together working on this. I have T-shirts. I do have some T-shirts available. They're $35 plus $5 for shipping. And I have a handful of small and medium and a bunch of large. So, but we will be doing another fundraiser probably sometime during the summer, so you can order anything you want. We've had a request for zip-up hoodies, and we'll see what we can do. I want to thank everybody for joining us today.